The 1993 college football season was absolutely dominated by Charlie Ward. Playing for the Florida State Seminoles, Ward became a national phenomenon his senior year as he won the Heisman and led Florida State to the national championship. But then, just months later, Charlie Ward decided to give up football and instead entered his name in the NBA draft. Which leaves us with an obvious question. What made a college football Heisman winner choose to play basketball for the rest of his life? So what's up guys, Mike here, and yes, the topic of today's video is why did Charlie Ward choose the NBA over the NFL? I mean, again, the man was a Heisman winner, so trust me, his decision to play in the NBA was very interesting. And before we get started, I just want to let you guys know that we are doing a very rare collab today. So for the first part of this video, you're going to be hearing from my man KTO. KTO makes similar videos to mine, except all of his are about the NFL and football. His most recent video is about the NFL's D-League and why it dissolved, so I'm going to put a link to that video down below in the description, so make sure to go watch it and subscribe to KTO if you love the NFL. And now, let's talk about Charlie Ward.
The U. Decades ago, their football program was so dominant, they had a part 1 and a part 2 30 for 30 made about them. They were that big of a deal. From the mid-80s all the way through the early 2000s, Miami was on top of the college football world. They won 5 national titles in that span, but in 1992, their rival Florida State, who they mostly dominated for years, had a new hero in town. His name was Charlie Ward. Here's something crazy. In 1989, as a quarterback out of high school, instead of redshirting his first year, he took the role of the team's punter.
A true freshman with the name of Charlie Ward will do the punting. Potentially the heir apparent at quarterback to Peter.
And he wasn't half bad.
And is down at the 2-yard line, and there's the great special teams play.
Now, 3 years later, he had the keys to this offense. But at first, it wasn't all peaches and cream. He struggled mightily, especially when they played Miami.
There's pursuit, chasing him around, and finally he gets his pass away. It's intercepted! Ward back, gets a little heat now, and he's going to go down. Coming off the snap. Now he gets some heat and takes a lick behind the line of scrimmage, and that's 4 times he has been decked. He fumbled the ball. Throws it as a man fires, intercepted.
Charlie Ward would nearly be benched. Fans had been calling for his head all season, and 2 weeks later, it would only add fuel to their fire when he was doing horrible against Georgia Tech. But then a mid-game adjustment changed everything. They started to run an offense exclusively out of shotgun. They ran it with a hurry-up tempo, later nicknamed the fast break offense. During the second half of that game, Charlie Ward led a furious comeback, and that night, he made a name for himself. He finished the year very strong, and after the 92 season, Ward put himself into Heisman consideration. That's when we arrived in 1993. This marks one of the greatest single seasons that you'll ever see. Midway through the year, they matched up against Miami. The U had dominated this rivalry for the last few years, and they completely shut down Charlie Ward the year before. Plus, Miami had a 31-game regular season winning streak going into that game. But like I've said before, what it says on paper doesn't mean
Out of the shotgun, 3rd down and about 10. Ward getting some pressure, getting more, gets it away. He's got Fryer wide open. Touchdown, Florida State. Ward can walk in. Feel comfortable in the game. I have no idea. There's a pass intercepted.
After they took care of Miami, for the rest of the season, Florida State's dominance would lead them to the Orange Bowl, which they went on to win over Nebraska, claiming the title of national champions. This was the program's first ever. Charlie Ward was the face of college football. With his incredible efficiency passing the ball, he is still arguably considered the best ACC quarterback to ever play. He took home about every award you could possibly win as a quarterback. And not only that, but he won the Heisman Trophy, college football's most prestigious award, by one of the widest margins ever.
Welcome back to Saturday Game Day. It's a day that everybody who plays college football dreams about. The day they dole out the Heisman Trophy. Florida State quarterback Charlie Ward is expected to win in a landslide. Ward comes from tiny Thomas County in Georgia. Tiny, except when it comes to football. If and when Ward makes the NFL, he'd be the 11th from the area to do so.
But as we all know now, Charlie Ward did not play in the NFL. In fact, when the NFL draft was held, Charlie wasn't even drafted, which was pretty strange because he just won the Heisman. But when we look at Charlie Ward's story, the reason why he wasn't drafted by the NFL is actually pretty simple. After his college football career was over, Charlie Ward was faced with a tough choice. Because while he had certainly proven to fans and the college football media that he was an incredible football player, NFL scouts remained less than convinced. They weren't sure what to make of Ward, and they weren't sure he was ever going to be an NFL starter because there were some serious questions about his size at the quarterback position. Meanwhile, the NBA was giving Charlie plenty of positive feedback, as while at the time football was clearly his #1 sport, he was also the starting point guard of Florida State's basketball team. And due to his awesome athleticism and fierce competitiveness, NBA scouts made it clear to Charlie that if he were to commit to playing basketball full-time, he would be a first-round pick in the 1994 NBA draft. This meant that Charlie had a very tough choice to make, so he made things easy on himself. Apparently, he told NFL teams that if he was drafted in the first round, then he would play football. And if he wasn't drafted in the first round, he would play in the NBA. Which meant that after no team chose Charlie in the first round of the NFL draft, every team was then afraid to take him because they thought they were wasting a pick. So Heisman winner Charlie Ward would go undrafted in the 1994 NFL draft. Meanwhile, the NBA would prove true to their word, and with the 26th pick of the 1994 NBA draft, Charlie Ward was taken by the New York Knicks. Now, when this happened, no one really knew what to make of this entire situation. Sure, the NFL might have had their doubts about Charlie as a prospect, but that was nothing new. The NFL has proven to make mistakes about quarterbacks time and time again, and so a lot of people thought Charlie was making a mistake, and that even if he was drafted in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or even 5th round, he should go play in the NFL, as it was on the football field that he really shined as an athlete. And I've gotta say, these people may have been right, because when going back and looking at this objectively, it was on the football field where Charlie Ward was a true superstar. In the 1993 college football season, Charlie had thrown 27 touchdowns with just 4 interceptions and won the Heisman while leading Florida State to a national championship. 15 days later, he joined the Florida State basketball team, where he averaged 10.5 points, 4.9 assists, and 2.8 steals a game for a team that would lose more games than they won. So sure, his basketball stats were solid, especially for a football player, but it was clear that Charlie was never going to be a star basketball player. He did, however, have a chance to become a star football player. When looking at these two options, though, it was obvious that basketball was the safe choice, a guaranteed long career that would set up the Ward family for life. So Charlie played it safe and joined the Knicks. And in New York, he certainly had a respectable NBA career. In his first few seasons in the league, the Knicks were one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, often reaching at least the Eastern Conference semifinals and once going all the way to the NBA Finals themselves. When it was all said and done, Charlie Ward would play in the league for 11 seasons and make over $34 million. Very impressive for a man who was supposed to be a football player. But again, when looking at this objectively, yes, Charlie's NBA career was long, but it was also very average. In his best season as a pro, he put up just 7.8 points and 5.8 assists per game. It was always the football field that held his chance at true stardom, and throughout his time with the Knicks, Charlie was reminded of this time and time again. Fans would ask him why he wasn't playing in the NFL. The Chiefs tried to sign him as the backup quarterback for Joe Montana. The New York media would even refer to Charlie Ward as the best quarterback in the city. Best quarterback in the city, as both the Giants and Jets had some serious problems at the quarterback position in the mid to late 90s. Now, with all of this said, I can't hate on Charlie Ward's decision at all. Again, the man made over $34 million in the NBA, so obviously he did something right. But I just have to wonder, what if Charlie Ward chose football? Would he have been a superstar that made over $100 million in his career, or would he have been a bust that was out of the league after his first contract? I guess we'll never know, but that is an awesome what if question. And so guys, thank you for watching. If you're new to this channel, make sure to subscribe. On this channel, we do NBA conspiracies, NBA history, NBA what ifs. Basically, if you love the NBA, you will love this channel, I promise you. And if you're already subscribed, thank you so much for supporting. You're awesome, we know this, and as always, have an awesome day, and cue that music.